Hi, and welcome back to our kitchen. Come on in and sit right down. Today I'm going to be sitting for a while because at my age my legs aren't working as well as they used to. That's why I cooked a little bit ahead of time and didn't show you on the stove what I was doing because it's hard for me to stand very long. So what we're going to have today is Vintage Day. I got in my mom's recipe box. Isn't that a cute recipe box? It's all wooden. And I picked one out. This is what they would call a scalloped chicken dinner. Now when they did their recipe cards, they would put where they got the recipe, whether it be the neighbor down the street, the church, the Grange, whoever gave them the recipe, or in those days a lot of times they would get them out of magazines. And instead of writing them down, they would cut out the recipe in the magazine and paste it to the card instead of writing them out. Okay, now I'm going to try to decipher this recipe card because it's not very clear. It calls for brown chicken in hot fat. Doesn't say how much chicken, doesn't say what kind of fat. So I took the initiative and did bacon grease, because I would think that that's the way they did it back then. Or I don't know, it could have been shortening. The shortening was popular. Add 1 cup chopped onion, garlic a little. Simmer 10 minutes. Put 1 1/4 of the stuffing mix in a buttered casserole. Now she got this off of a stuffing package because it says on the top. So I'm going to assume that she followed the stuffing mix recipe because there's no liquid in this. I had to figure out what I was going to do with it. So what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm going to take the stuffing mix. Now, being gluten-free is, you have to address that when you're buying any kind of bread products. So my favorite is 3 Bakers herb season. But let me tell you, this stuff's expensive. But it gives me the flavor of if I was eating a regular gluten stuffing mix. Now Aldi's has a good one. It's crumbled up. I don't know if they have any cubes yet. I haven't been there for a while. But if you want cubes, you hunt for a gluten-free stuffing mix that's cubed. Otherwise, they're mostly all crumbled up. So I have the stuffing mix in here. I took a stick of plant butter, and in the original Mrs. Whatever's stuffing mix, I don't want to say the name. They called for 2 sticks. Well, that's too much butter for me. So I took plant butter and I took a chopped onion, and it's not on the recipe, but I threw in a little bit of celery. So I'm going to dump that in here. Like I say, forgive me for doing this ahead of time. Oops, I got it on my recipe card. Can't ruin that. Okay, next I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken broth, stock, whatever you have on hand. This is my homemade. It was in the freezer. And it's got a little bit of chicken goodness in the bottom. So I'm going to scrape that in here. And then I was going to put 2 eggs in here. But it doesn't call for eggs. And I don't know what was on the original stuffing box mix. So I'm just going to do the onions and the butter and the chicken stock, and I'm going to mix that all up. Now I did reserve 1/2 cup of the stuffing mix, and I'll show you why later. And I put it in a little baggie. Now also with gluten-free bread products, you have to let them sit for a while because it's hard for them to soak up certain liquids It's not like a regular dressing mix that has gluten in it. Then you take a buttered casserole. Now they used to butter their casseroles. The oils, the spray oils didn't come out till later on, but I use spray oil. And I'm going to put this in the buttered casserole. I have my oven set for 350. We're going to see how this turns out. Get that spoon. I'm going to shove it all out. Okay, what's it say next? Add chicken and etc. from the pan. I don't know what that means. Whether it means the fat that was in there, the etc. from the pan. Okay, sprinkle with half a cup of stuffing mix. Okay, I looked up scalloped chicken recipes online, and a lot of them use cream of chicken soup, cream of mushroom soup, and as you all know, I can get gluten-free cream of chicken soup at Walmart. They have a brand. You can order it online, or you can make your own, and I think I'm going to be doing that this month. Showing you how to make gluten-free, dairy-free cream of chicken soup. That's the problem. It's the dairy-free that gets ya. Okay, the chicken's in there. Now I took the stuffing mix, or I'm going to take the stuffing mix, and we want to crumble this up, just like breadcrumbs. Where's my hammer? Here it is. Take my hammer and pound it. And it says to sprinkle it over the top. Now let me tell you about the chicken. I had to do a lot of thinking about that. Most of your recipes for scalloped chicken call for cooked chicken. Well, to me, if I'm going to put this chicken in the oven for an hour, it's going to be tough as heck. So I didn't cook it all the way. It's still a little bit pink in the middle. And then I'm going to sprinkle this over the top. Yummy. Seems like a simple recipe, huh? You can put this on your dinner very fast. Now I don't know if I told you, I used 2 chicken breasts and I cut them up. You can lay them on here in slices like tenderloins. You can lay them on there whole if you want. I just don't want to have to cut up chicken after the casserole's done. Okay, bake 350 1 hour. And then you're supposed to add vegetables to it, to the top of the casserole, and then you cover it and bake it. Okay, I think I have that covered. Let me come back after we bake it in the oven. I'm going to bake it for, actually I'm going to do 30 minutes first, not an hour. And then I'm going to do the vegetables, and then I'm going to cover it, and then I'm going to do it for another 10 minutes, and we'll see how it comes out. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. We took it out of the oven. I checked to make sure that the liquid on the bottom was being absorbed by the stuffing mix. It's a little bit crunchy on top, which is what I like. But now the recipe card calls for vegetables. But let me tell you something first. With my memory, I keep forgetting. When I cooked the chicken, there was no mention of any salt and pepper or anything like that on the chicken. So what I did is I put a little bit of salt, because I don't have a lot of salt in this recipe, and I peppered it. And the garlic, she said, a little bit of garlic, I put garlic powder on the chicken. I just want to let you know. Now, getting back to the vegetables, a lot of people use peas. The thing says, it actually says a vegetable like green beans, etc. And so I'm going to add corn today because my favorite Thanksgiving combination on my plate is the mashed potatoes with the gravy and the corn all mixed up with the stuffing. So that's my favorite. So I'm just going to sprinkle the corn over the top. Now mind you, this is hot. This casserole is hot. So don't burn yourself. This is a can of corn that I drained. Try not to burn myself, but I take these chances sometimes. Okay, now you're going to put foil on the top. Here I have a non-stick foil, which I use all the time. And I'm going to put it over the top. Now it says 10 minutes. I think I'm going to let it go for 15. Only because I want to make sure that chicken is done. I didn't go an hour initially because the chicken would have turned out like shoe leather. So we're going to put this back in the oven for 15 more minutes, still on the 350 degrees, and we'll come back to show you what it looks like. It's done. I let it cook in the oven covered with foil for the extra 15 minutes. And I'm going to dish this out, and once it gets cool, I'm going to taste it for you. It's got the stuffing, chicken, and of course I'm making a mess on the counter, but that's just me. That's an everyday. Because I'm curious to see if this chicken is tough or not. Let me know if you want me to do more vintage recipes. I have a whole box full, from cakes to 1950s desserts, 60s desserts, grandma's desserts, a lot of cakes and pies. So just let me know if you want more vintage recipes. Okay, I'm going to try to taste this now. I gotta get a spoon. You can see the steam coming off of it. Get a piece of chicken, some corn and stuffing, and I'll let you know if I think it needs something. Very simple recipe. The chicken is a little tough. I was worried about that. So what I would do to improve this is I would put the chicken on raw before I cooked. I wouldn't cook it on the stove. Because as you know, chicken breasts dry out. Maybe if you use chicken thighs. Otherwise, the stuffing, the corn, the chicken is very delicious. So I would make this again. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to support your local businesses. They're still hurting. And I'll see you next time. Bye.